Hey everybody, this is Darkseid Elite here, and this is gonna be one of my later podcasts. I'm gonna add in a lot of new stuff. I thought about it, and I'm gonna add in my talk about subject reviews show, and also reiterate about what did I think about the whole situation with the Flash, and also talk about the future of the DCU and what we should be doing for the Snyder Cut. Now let's get down into this. Um, Oh, and also, I'm still trying to get in touch with Hawk. Hawk is very, very busy. The man is working two jobs right now, trying to get a roof over his head. So we're not gonna be hearing from him for a while, and until he gets situations taken care of, he will be on hiatus for a bit. Okay, so it's gonna be just me. All right. So now, subject reviews. He made a video about the trailer for Birds of Prey, and he talked about the Flash movie and also about the future of the DCEU. Now I'm gonna be talking a little bit about that, and I'm gonna go a little bit more in depth. And I also did make my trailer for the Birds of Prey. I hope you guys liked it, and I hope you guys get some views and pass it around. But this whole thing is more about the Flash and the future of the DCEU and the ramifications of people listening to idiot journalists and media people instead of thinking for themselves. Now, The Flash by Andy Musichelli and also Ezra Miller. Andy Musichelli came out and he stated that he is going to be doing something like Flashpoint, but he's going to take elements of Flashpoint, but it's going to be a solo Flash movie. Now, people are already screaming out about reboot. That's what I talked about in my Flash is not a reboot video. I will link that down below. Please watch that. Basically, I detailed that the fact of just because they're taking elements of Flashpoint does not mean it's going to be Flashpoint. Now, I agree massively with what Subject Review stated. Yes, this could be a great point for the Flash. However, but I disagree with them the fact of that what changed was the New 52 because if you really look at the whole situation with the Flash, what Geoff Johns wrote in Flashpoint and now ends with Doomsday Clock was this was his point to illustrate to us that every mistake that we've ever done cannot be changed, and also that everything was centered around Superman. That's what Doomsday Clock was about. Doomsday Clock and Rebirth. It was all about Superman. And I'll get into this a little bit about what I think Geoff Johns was doing, and I think it was a gigantic middle finger. Um, now, also, I would like for everyone to realize that we had Grace Randolph for months talking about that Wonder Woman 84 was a reboot. Well, Patty Jenkins and Gal Gadot came out and said, "No, this is not a reboot. It's an alternate reality." Basically, everything happened in Wonder Woman 1, but this is a different universe. This is not the same universe as Zack Snyder's universe. So, it's not a reboot. It just means that now she's not limited to the story that Zack Snyder was not left to complete. Think about that. We don't know what Wonder Woman was doing at the end of Snyder's Justice League. We don't know. We don't know where anybody was at the end of Zack Snyder's Justice League, except Batman. We know Batman's supposed to be dead. We know Batman's supposed to be dead. Now, two, out of every person, everyone's got to remember something. Here's one thing we also got to completely remember. One, Patty Jenkins worked with Zack. She has high respect of Zack. She didn't agree that Gal Gadot was the right Wonder Woman, that this was not her first Wonder Woman, but she applauds Zack for giving us a phenomenal Wonder Woman. She completely changed her thought process of Gal as Diana. So why would she completely turn her back on Zack's premises? She now, with Wonder Woman 84, that gives her massive freedom to actually be able to tell the story she wants to tell. It's not no knock on Zack. It's a knock on Geoff Johns, because Geoff Johns is the one that came in and completely rewrote the third act of Wonder Woman 1. Does anybody remember that? Geoff Johns came in and wrote that whole Magneto versus Wolverine act in freaking Wonder Woman 1. When we could have gotten Ares beating down Wonder Woman, maybe. We don't know how that was going to turn out. We don't know what Patty Jenkins was going to do. But now there is no Geoff Johns. Zack Snyder is still is a producer, but he's a hands-off producer. If she had a knock against Zack, she never would have had Zack as a producer. She would have had him as an executive and let him have no affiliation with the movie. But he's a producer. So that means that she's going to go to him for some insights, because he wrote a lot of backstory for Diana, and she probably wants to pick his brain on a few things. Now, same thing goes for James Wan. We know from Jason Momoa's own interview, he stated that after Zack's cut of Justice League, he was going home. Arthur was going home. He was going to go home and meet his dad. But he ran into that situation on the sub. But now, without the Justice League, without Zack Snyder's cut to really flesh out more about Arthur, and quite possibly, we don't know what James Wan's going to do with Aquaman. But Jason Momoa saying no, it's awesome, and we all know it's going to be awesome. But we also got to remember another fact. This is a fact. James Wan had to make concessions. He made concessions to Geoff Johns and to Tobey Emmerich and Kevin Tsujihara before he left. Now, the only thing that I agree with Geoff Johns was Black Manta. He was phenomenal. He didn't take over the movie. He was there. He made his point, and they moved on. They didn't want to put in Black Manta. They wanted to focus all on Orm and Arthur. And that's okay. But I think people are forgetting this stuff. James Wan had huge level of respect for freaking Zack Snyder. He changed certain things that Zack Snyder thought, oh, that was going to be cool. But then James Wan said, no, let's keep it simple. They just speak underwater instead of making the stupid bubbles. I thought the bubbles was kind of stupid. But Zack thought it was cool that they were able to control the water to the point where they can make a bubble and they can all talk in it. James Wan was like, can we just make them talk underwater? Who cares? No one's gonna dispute that. So again, this is all coming from James Wan. Now, I'm not saying that James Wan is a sellout or anything like that. What I'm saying is James Wan loved what Zack Snyder was doing. He picked his brain. He went back to him and asked him a whole bunch of questions about what he was going to do with Arthur's character in Justice League. His Justice League. And what should he do in these type of instances? So he was picking his brain with Zack Snyder. Zack Snyder and he were co-fabbing to try to make this movie better and better and better. So again, these are two directors that have a huge level of respect for Zack Snyder. They know that Zack got screwed. They know these actors got screwed. And again, I think a lot of people are forgetting that. And I'm not saying Subject Reviews forgot about it or anything like that. I'm just saying that there's a lot of people that forgot about this type of stuff. They're not remembering it. I have a pretty damn good memory when it comes to this type of stuff. Now, I can get muddled, but at least I'm remembering it. Now, the situation with Zack and the situation with Patty, it's a lot different. Wonder Woman 84 is not a reboot. Just because they brought back Steve Trevor doesn't mean jack squat. That's a story plot point. That's a story plot. He can easily just fade back into the ether and go back to his own time frame before he dies. We don't know what's going to happen. We don't know if this is all Cersei. So we're all jumping to these massive levels of conclusions without watching the movie. Now, and I'm talking about story points. I'm not talking about character designs. I'm talking about story points. It's not a reboot. Wonder Woman 84 is not a reboot. Patty has come out and said, no, it's an alternate reality. It's an alternate world. This is separate from the DCEU. So she can have the freedom to be able to tell the story she wants to tell. So if anything ever happens and Zack can come back and they get this back on track again, they're not meddling with anything. They already did their movies, and hey, guess what? Now they can continue on with the DCEU. Now there's more rumors talking about that Gal might not come back after Wonder Woman 3. I think that she might come back, but I think that she would like to be a part of a franchise, a bigger franchise, not just a 3-movie and be done. Because she was already a part of something like that. She was part of the Fast and the Furious. So it doesn't make any sense. So, Wonder Woman 84 is not a reboot. Let's settle that right here and now. Grace Randolph doesn't know what the hell she's talking about. Can we all just agree that until we see the movie, let's not listen to people that are throwing out these weird conceptions? WB has not come out and said we're rebooting the DCU. The only thing we heard from WB is they're saying to the audience and saying to fans that they're just going to concentrate on three movie deals. They're concentrating on trilogies and maybe quadrilogies. They want to think about franchises and cinematic universes later. But people are still trying to figure out, like, are they going to do it? Then they must be rebooting everything. No. They're just saying, nah, it just didn't work for right now. Let's concentrate on just trying to make movies. So why are everybody jumping on the bandwagon about The Flash as a reboot? How about it's just a central story about The Flash? Now, I'm going to throw something at everybody else on one other aspect. The CW did their version of Flashpoint. And it was a semi-soft boot of the whole CW universe. Just for The Flash and also a little bit for Arrow. It barely messed with freaking Legends of Tomorrow, which it should have. It should have messed with Legends of Tomorrow. It should have messed with a little bit on Supergirl, and it should have messed up a little bit on Black Lightning. But it didn't. Because they didn't want to meddle with anybody else's stuff. No, you're part of a dang universe. Flashpoint is hands down one of the most reality messed up situations that the Flash ever did in all of comic books. The next biggest event that messed up all the realities was, guess what, for Marvel? No More Mutants. And it devastated the MC. It devastated the Marvel universe when Scarlet Witch did that. So having the Flash go back in time, save his mother, but then out of nowhere change things back, and you had a blue Smurf show up out of nowhere and completely mess everything up to try to test certain theories, and it all comes revolving around Superman at the very end of the whole scope, is devastating. It's devastating. It messed with everything. Everything. So why are we jumping on the fact that this is a reboot? No. Andy is talking about, no, this is an intimate story about the Flash. The CW universe, the CW did the same freaking thing, but they made it more intimate. It only messed with 2 shows. People thought, oh, it was a massive reboot. It should be a massive reboot. I go, yeah, it should be, but they're not doing it. And so is Andy Muschicelli. And Ezra Miller is agreeing with the same thing. Because remember, if Ezra Miller is not a part of it, they're not doing it. Or Ezra will walk away. And if Ezra walks away, they're completely screwed. But they're not. He's attached. He's good to go. He's a part of this. So let's get rid of this rebooting ideas out of our heads, please. Let's just see what Andy Muschicelli and Ezra Miller and Christina Hodson has in store for us. Because in all honesty, in my personal opinion, do not make it about Reverse Flash. Make it a mess up that Barry did something. We start a new Flash universe, and we get introduced to all these characters, and it's not hard because of the way the Flash works, the way temporal physics, and the way they use comic book theory and also comic book logic. They can easily take all those elements that they add in the Flash universe and add it into the DCU. It's not hard. Ezra can be attached to the Flash until he's basically the same age as John Wesley's ship. Who the heck cares? He could be the new Jay Garrick for all we know. When he gets old, and he can't do the movie. He can't do it anymore. There's a lot of things he could do with the Flash, but we're all jumping on the bandwagon that it's a reboot. It's rebooting the whole DCEU. Oh, we're gonna have Robert Pattinson as Batman. Matt Reeves has come out and said, no, it's not part of the DCEU. He wants it away from it. Not because of Zack Snyder, not because of studio interference. It's mainly the fact is he just wants to tell his own story. He wants to tell his Batman story. And that's fine. Because if it's great, okay, then you know what? Bring in Robert Pattinson as Batman. But if it's hot trash, keep this dude away from it. Let it be its own universe. I want Batman to make sense to the Superman that's in the universe. And if you put Robert Pattinson next to Henry Cavill, he's nowhere near as big as Henry Cavill. Holy crap. People say, well, Batman's not as big as Superman. What? Are you nuts? Batman is an Adonis. He's supposed to be almost as big as Superman. He's muscular. He has to keep muscle, or his body will be racked. He's not going to be massively muscular like someone like as Arthur. No. Arthur is muscle. It's all muscle, little fat. Same goes for Superman. Batman has a little bit of fat because he's human and he gets old. Aquaman can live for hundreds of years. He can live for a long time. He lives longer than most humans. Superman can live for a lot longer than a lot of humans. Flash can have an extended long life. Wonder Woman, immortal. Cyborg, immortal. He can't grow old. The Cybernetics will keep his body young. Batman's the only one there that can grow old. So he's gonna get a little fat. That's the way it is. But you're gonna have no. It won't make any sense. It just doesn't make any sense. So all I'm saying here is this. Let's get these reboots out of our heads. Until it comes out, that's when we can start either jumping up and down or ranting and raving. So let's kind of get away from the whole reboot right now. They're not going to reboot. They're just put on a shelf for right now. Now let's move a little forward. He's talking about that Zack is going to come back. And 2020 is the time. Listen, I am all in for the Snyder Cut. But we also need to rein in our expectations. Because regardless of how we feel, WB and AT&T are in it for the business. They got to make money. These movies have to make a lot of money. Now, you could say, oh, this movie Joker and all these other movies made the money, so why? Nah, no. They got to see a trend, and they got to see these movies make a lot of money. Birds of Prey has to make a lot of money. Despite how I feel about the casting or anything like that, I'm still going to go watch the movie. Go watch the movie. The more times they see that they could get a good trend and people still want to see the Snyder Cut, but they're willing to say, hey, we want this. We want the Snyder Cut, but we'll go see these movies, but we want the Snyder Cut. Everyone's got to... Here's the thing, and I don't want to go too far into a tangent. WB is behind us. They want that cutout. Ant Starnoff wants that cutout. Walter Hamada has been stated numerous times from DC Film Hubs, even Chris Wong, and even a little bit from Dave Pena. Three of these places on YouTube have stated that Walter Hamada loved what Zack Snyder was doing. He cannot just instantly say, well, we got to bring out that cut. I'm screw WB and the stockholder. I'm going to do it anyway. He can't do that. He'll get fired. fired, he'll get freaking run out of Hollywood. He can't. He has to prove that his ideas are going to work. He has to prove it. And that means successful movies. And Sarnoff is there to clean up all this BS mess that Tobey Emmerich and Kevin Tsujihara created, making Diane Nelson and a whole bunch of other people screw over a director, bringing in Captain Baseball Cap Kevin Feige light, Bizarro Kevin Feige. I'm sorry, no, anti-Bizarro Kevin Feige. Geoff Johns into the mix and completely screw up other directors' work. And screw up another director's work. And then hiring a hack director to completely hack apart a director's work. She has to fix all this. And I understand. Everyone can say, well, she can fix it by bringing out the cut. She can't do that. Because AT&T does not want anything to do with this cut. They want to see the green. How hard is it for for some of the people to understand this? They have to make money. They have to make money. Joker is a phenomenal success. Birds of Prey has to be a success. Wonder Woman 84 has to crack $1 billion. It has to crack $1 billion. The first movie almost made BVS money. This one has to crack over $1 billion. It has to. Aquaman 2 has to crack over $1 billion. It cannot be lackluster. They got to see a trend that people are going to go see these movies. They don't care about DC versus Marvel. They don't care about the Snyder Cut movement or Zack Snyder himself. What ATT wants to see is that people are going to go see these movies. People are going to go get the HBO Max. They want to see money come into the coffers. I'm sorry if it's hard for everyone to understand and it feels like I'm yelling at you or I'm trying to take away any hope that we're going to get this cut. I'm not. But there has to be a reality to this. A massive level of reality. My biggest complaint right now is people are going to want to jump ship if we don't get this cut. Temper your expectations. Keep fighting for the cut. It's not WB. It's not WB. It's AT&T. That I don't know the poor guy's name. He's the guy that's he's the media guy who's supposed to be between both AT&T and WB. That guy is the guy that basically tells WB, move forward with these projects. Here's the money. Now here's the thing. And this is the reason why I feel that everyone needs to calm down a little bit. Look at this situation with Disney. Let's say Marvel. Let's say Marvel brought out a Patriot movie with a black Patriot that's a black Captain America, has it an inner city version of Captain America 1, and they had one director in there that was a black director. He did a really good job, brought in black actors, some minority actors, and also white crew and everything else. He made the movie pretty damn diverse. However, he couldn't finish the movie. He had he actually, I'm not even going to use the whole Zack Snyder thing. Let's say he couldn't finish the movie. Differences between him and Kevin Feige. He wished Kevin Feige stayed the heck out of the set, but Kevin Feige came in there and starts, put on his baseball cap and sitting there telling them, no, we got to do it this way, this way, this way. And they get another director in there and they completely change the whole freaking movie. Instead of it feeling like it's an inner city Captain America, it feels like a Captain America version of Miles Morales' Spider-Man. Feels so different than what they told us. But he finished almost a lot of the filming, but they had to redo a lot of the filming, change a lot of things. But you have people sitting there saying, I want this guy's cut. They can scream it to Kevin Feige all he wants. Kevin Feige can't say yes or no to it. It has to be Bob Iger. He is Disney. Disney's giving him the money. Same premise here with WB. WB can say, yeah, we can bring out that cut all they want. AT&T says, no, put that damn thing in the back. We don't care. Make other movies, please, or find other jobs. WB answers to AT&T. AT&T is the bigger majority holder. They own WB. That's how this all started. They rush jobbed Justice League with Joss Whedon at the helm. We got that Frankenstein of a mess, all because these guys wanted to get that money out so they could make their year-end bonuses. Because think about it, they knew that they were going to get bought. They knew they were going to get bought, and they wanted their end-of-year bonus. So if anything ever happens, they got their bonus. If they got fired, whoopee freaking do. So, again, this is not rocket science. WB answers to AT&T. So why are we getting angry at WB? I can understand. You can be frustrated with them. They're not saying anything. They can't. They can't. They have to move forward. Let's be respectful to WB. They could be sitting out hit pieces and say, no, the cut doesn't exist. Cut doesn't exist. They could be still trying to fight us on that cut. But they're not saying anything. That means that WB, they rather for us to do the heavy work. So let's do the heavy work. Let's do it. Let's get the cut out there. Let's get the information. 2 years versus 20 for the Donner cut. And there was no internet at the time. So I think we're doing a pretty damn good job getting to them. They know. WB knows. But they have to they have to convince AT&T. They have to convince them. They have to convince them to let them open this cut up. To say, let's get this cut out there. Now 2020 can be this year, it can be long. We might get it by summer. As a summer blockbuster on HBO Max or the streaming service. I think the streaming service will probably be the better bet. A gift for all the DC fans. If you got the streaming cut, it's on the streaming cut for free. You want a hard copy? You gotta go through some channels. Whoopie freaking do. Give me the channels. I'll buy it. No problem. But let's be respectful to WB. I'm being more respectful to WB. I understand what they're talking about. I understand what the problem. We got Aaron Sarnoff in there. It's not like Tobey Emmerich's in power anymore. They're slowly pushing this guy out. They're not dealing with him that much anymore. It's Aaron Sarnoff and Walter Hamada who are actually in charge of all the DC stuff. I'm not saying WB. I'm saying DC stuff. It's Aaron Sarnoff and Walter Hamada. Geoff Johns is gone. He's on the TV front. And he might get pushed out of there. They gave his job to Jim Lee, who has way more respect for these characters. He knew that Zack Snyder was trying to build something. Now, let's get to what I think about the Doomsday Clock, and because of the Doomsday Clock, I think it's a middle finger to a lot of Zack fans. Let's go back in time. When Man of Steel came out, you had this, I believe, Comic Movie Marks. They did a video about this. Talking about that Geoff Johns came out and literally stated that I'm going to paraphrase here, but he was talking about the fact that he finds it kind of strange that he was just on the set to help people understand the characters a little bit more because they have a weird concept or they don't understand the character fully. Now, what set was that? It wasn't Green Lantern. It was Man of Steel. He was trying to tell us that he was trying to tell people that Zack Snyder did not know what this character was. He screwed up. I'm surprised. This is a comic book writer. He's a comic book writer. He's wrote some of the darkest stories for these heroes and built them back up. He wrote most of freaking Infinite Crisis. He wrote most of that. He wrote Flashpoint. This Geoff Johns has a weird concept. He doesn't understand plot. He doesn't understand arcs. And the messed up problem about this whole situation is that Geoff Johns was the guy that all of us was like, oh man, this guy knows comic books. He's gonna leave everything alone. No, this dude had his hands in so much of everything and puttied it all up. Made us look stupid. While Marvel has a guy that's never wrote a comic book in his whole life, but he put his hands in everything and everything turned to gold. And I'm not saying everything is over there is gold. I'm saying there's a lot of pyrite and painted mud. I'm sorry. I don't like a lot of stuff in Marvel. I love Marvel Comics, but I hate the stuff they did over in Marvel. It made no sense. So he comes over and does Doomsday Clock and reveals that all of Doomsday Clock, all of Rebirth, the whole Flashpoint series, and the New 52 was a gigantic middle finger to everybody that loves Zack Snyder's Superman. And here's how I know why. He centered the whole story around the fact that Dr. Manhattan basically screwed up Superman's timeline. And it caused a ripple effect throughout all of realities. He changed a few facets of Superman's character and screwed it all up. That's why there's no Justice Society, because Superman wasn't there. That's why these events never happened, because Superman wasn't there. He wasn't the symbol of hope, because Superman wasn't the symbol of hope. He wasn't this or this or this or this or this. Everything revolved the fact of Superman. And to me, that's a gigantic middle finger to everybody who loves Zack Snyder Superman. Think about that. This is the guy that went on national television and literally made an interview and straight up stated in an article that he finds it strange that he was on the set of Man of Steel trying to help people understand who Superman is and give them pointers about this or this, and they still couldn't understand the concept of who Superman was. It didn't feel like Superman. And I was like, what? This to me, this whole Doomsday Clock story is a travesty to comic books. This is a middle finger. That Superman is so important that basically it undone all of reality. And that he understood Superman enough to say that this Superman is this important because he made these type of decisions. He was there at those pinnacle points. I go, okay, but shouldn't the same thing be said about Batman? Or shouldn't the same thing be said about Wonder Woman? Or shouldn't the same thing, actually the Trinity itself. It's not just Superman. It's Wonder Woman and Batman too. Scott Snyder, the whole thing about Dark Knight's Metal, saying that Batman, if ever pushed to the brim, Batman could turn into this. This could be a negative universe because of Batman. Where's the same thing for Wonder Woman? Nothing. Because again, a lot of the writers on at DC do not know how to do Wonder Woman correctly. They don't. It's sad. I have great ideas for how to do Wonder Woman and link back to things that happened in New 52. But this whole Doomsday Clock story is a gigantic middle finger to people who like Superman. Zack Snyder Superman. That Superman needs to be this. If Superman's not this, it unravels everything. I go, what? Really? That's how I feel. But again, you gotta look at Doomsday Clock. You have to look at it. You have to look at it from. You gotta read it from from Flashpoint, the beginning of Flashpoint, all the way to the end of Doomsday Clock. And you'll realize that it's all about the fact that Superman has to be this exact person. If he's not this person, things are awry. And I'm like, oh my God. So now we got a confusion in the comics. We got confusion in the movie universe. So what's the future? What is the future for the DC Comics, the DC and the DC entertainment universe? We gotta move forward. Okay, Doomsday Clock is done. We can move forward. We can move forward. Get away from it. The entertainment side, we just gotta wait. I think that they want to see. Do people want to see Henry Cavill Superman out there again? That's what they want to see, the trend. And I guarantee you, there are more people out there, silent people out there, who don't want to see his Superman. They want to see they just want to see Superman out there. They don't care if it's Henry or anybody else, but they're silent about it. They don't want to say nothing. That's what's going on. And now the future of the DCU, the future of WB is now determined on a computer program. That is the worst decision to make, because algorithms can be changed. We just have to see now, because they want to determine how their movies are going to be made, what movies to be made, because of an algorithm. That is terrible. In my perspective, that's terrible. We just got to see. Now, Subject Reviews did a really good job in his video. Did a really good job. I agree with 80% of the stuff he said. The 20% is don't give up. That's what they're expecting. They're expecting that eventually you're just gonna give up and don't care and move on. Those are the people they're waiting for to see. They're waiting for you to give up. That's why Zack is doing these cryptic messages. That's why Zack is doing these cryptic things. He's getting you excited to want to keep fighting. The moment you give up, that shows them that you don't want that cut. You should think of it that way. Don't blame WB. Do not blame them. Blame AT&T. They're in it for the money. They don't care about the DC versus Marvel. They don't care about Zack Snyder. They definitely don't care about the fans. They want to see the money. And if they own WB, that's it. That's like Disney owning Marvel and saying, we just want family-friendly films. We don't want rated R films. What is Marvel going to do? They can't do rated R films. Hence why they don't do it. They can't even do a hard PG-13. They got to do a light PG-13. That's why Blade's going to suck. That's why Deadpool's going to suck. They won't do it. If they do it, they're going to break the mold. Then that means that WB has to, that AT&T has to let WB do some things. They got to, because they won't be able to compete. They're going to get more fans over there. They have to showcase that, no, we're willing to push the boundaries. We're willing to do rated R on these comic book films. Joker was a phenomenal film, despite how everyone want to say something about it. It made $1 billion without China. That's huge. That's huge. But Wonder Woman has to make $1 billion. Birds of Prey has to crack over $600 to $700 million. It has to. If it makes $800 million, that's insane. But I want this movie to make a good amount of money, to prove that people out there do want to see these type of movies. Shazam has to make a lot of money. It didn't make a lot of money, and that sucks. And that's because people talk down the movie when they should have been talking it up. It is Shazam is a family-friendly movie. Sorry about that. It is a family-friendly movie. So again, again, it's one of the things that I don't understand. What do you want? You can't sit there and say, "Oh, I want Zack Snyder to do all the movies." That's impossible. Can't do it. It's impossible. He can't do every single movie. Get that out of your head. Patty Jenkins did a damn good job with Wonder Woman. She just had her movie muddled with. James Wan did a really good job with what the hell happened in his movie. He had to make concessions. James Wan made a lot of money for New Line. He did. He made a lot of money for New Line. However, he does not have the clout to tell WB to get that away from his movie. He does now. He made $1 billion. Go away. I don't need you touching my movie. And even then, Walter Amada and them are not going to go in there and mess around with this movie. They know what happens. They don't want to mess around with the movie. They have to give these directors the freedom to do their movies. Matt Reeves has full creative diligence to do his movie the way he wants to. Disney cannot afford that. They have to keep it a certain way. Hence why Kevin Feige keeps doing what he does. He keeps coming in there telling them, put in a joke here, take this stuff out, put a joke here, well, let's liven it up here. He directs as a producer, telling the director what to do. That's why I feel that Scott Derrickson left. He wanted to do a horror movie. He wanted to do an absolute horror movie. But you have freaking Kevin Feige going, nah, we can't do that. I can't frighten the kids. Are you kidding me? Doctor Strange has very frightening villains. Why can't we show that? No, we can't do that. We can't frighten the kids. Parents will get upset. Then you're not going to have a good Doctor Strange movie. You can't say, oh, it feels like it's going to be a horror. You're only going to have the horror aspect when you do the music. That doesn't bring horror. Silence, dead silence does better on horror. Kevin Feige doesn't know how to do horror. He knows how to do family-friendly TD Bopper movies. He sucks. He doesn't know these characters. He doesn't respect these characters. He sees dollar signs with them. And again, I'm not knocking the fact that they want to make money off these characters. Duh, that's fine. But don't take away the quality for the quantity. WB has done that too. Do not take away quality for quantity. You'll get more people that are going to appreciate the film more than the people that are going to be shoving themselves in there, laugh their faces off, and then leave and go, and the movie was all right. Here's one thing, and I'm gonna leave it here for you guys. To this day, people are still talking about Man of Steel. To this day, people are still talking about Batman v Superman. Why aren't they talking about Thor Ragnarok? Why aren't they talking about Civil War? So I'm gonna have people down below gonna say, well, they're still talking about Endgame. That's because it's still fresh. It's still in their minds. I'm not taking that movie away. It was emotionally impactful. But why aren't they talking about Thor Ragnarok? It got a 9.5 score. High tomato score. Why aren't they talking about it? Why is it not being talked about? Why aren't they talking about Civil War? One question is, why aren't they talking about, I don't know, Ant-Man and the Wasp? Why aren't they talking about the second Iron Man or the second Captain America movie? Why aren't they talking about the second Thor movie? Why aren't they talking about these movies that are made such a level of impact to get to this point? You spent 10 years to build up to Endgame, and barely anybody talks about these movies, these older movies. The only time they talk about is the first Iron Man. That's because the relevance to Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark. But they're not talking about the other movies. They're talking about the future. It's like, wait a minute. People are still talking about Batman v Superman. People are still talking about Man of Steel. That's cultural impact. Positive or negative, it's still cultural impact. It's making an impact. Release the Snyder Cut is going to make bigger impact than release the JJ Cut, which is never going to happen. Disney is never going to let that, never going to release it. And watch they do. But here's the bigger thing. Where's the new Gods movie? Where are these other movies? Hell, I think the Blackhawks movie it's gone. It's gone. They were using Steven Spielberg as it's to quiet people down. I don't hear people talking about it. I heard it about a couple of times. I honestly think that we're probably never we're not going to get a lot of the things that they talked about. So that's the thing I'm going to say. That's where I'm going to leave it at. The big question is, why aren't people talking about these things? Why aren't people talking about these MCU movies? But we're still talking about BVS. We're still talking about MOS. No one's talking about Justice League or how terrible it is. Same thing can be said about Shazam. But the thing is, BVS and MOS made such an impact in culture because it was so divisive to people because they didn't want. And I illustrate that in another video. Is Superman relevant? It's a gag. I'm not saying the movie is a joke of a movie. No, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is what Zack Snyder proposed was the gag. It was the gag. Could this world be? Could this world accept Superman? No. No, they wouldn't. The movie explained it, and how divisive that movie was, it showed. No one wants that version of Superman. But they want the Christopher Reeve Superman that makes absolutely no sense in today's society. And they hide behind the fact of it's a comic book character who cares as a cloth, as a blanket. Because they don't want their quote unquote childhoods be completely erased. Like the whole thing about Batman killing. I go, Batman's killed. Doesn't take nothing away from me. So what? Wonder Woman is killed, so what? Captain America's killed, so what? Thor's killed, so what? So what? So that's the problem. That's the gag. And I want everybody to look at that stuff. I'll even link that below. Is Superman relevant? On top of subject reviews, video. I'll link those 3 videos for you guys. So like, comment, share, subscribe down below. I hope you guys think about what I was talking about. Please, there are gonna be no reboots. There are gonna be no reboots. I am positive we're gonna get this Snyder Cut. I'm keeping my expectations low. I'm just hoping that we all keep fighting. We keep fighting. We keep showing that there are fans out there that wants this cut. They want to see it succeed, and they want something better. And we want to see characters represented in a way that makes sense to the character. I have no problem with Shazam. That's the way he was represented in the comics. Perfectly fine. Wonder Woman, I wish that she was a little bit more ruthless. But that's because Patty Jenkins thinks that she wants her to be the ambassador of peace. She wants that Wonder Woman that has the white cape with the yellow trim with the eagle on her arm. She wants that version of Wonder Woman. Nothing wrong with it. I'm perfectly okay with it because that's what iteration of her in the comics. I want the Batman that basically beats the crap out of criminals, but he's a detective. I want the ruthless Batman. Ben Affleck's Batman was perfect, was near perfect. No problem with him killing, but let's kind of get him back to traditional Batman. The Batman that makes people afraid to even want to walk down at night to steal a purse or rob a convenience store. That's the ones I want. That's the stuff I want. Aquaman, who's, in all honesty, an eco-terrorist. He's the king of the 7 seas, an eco-terrorist. I would love to see the Flash as a happy-go-lucky guy, but has sadness behind his eyes because he's seeing kids playing with their parents and Bruce, being the way he is. That's because he doesn't have his parents at all. Superman has Lois, but he has no family. He has no true family. Wonder Woman, who's by herself, fighting the good fight, calling every girl her little sister, but she can't go home. Cyborg, who's so diverse from his humanity because he's a robot. Martian Manhunter, he's the last of his own race too. He can't bring his race back because if he brings his race back, he brings back the white Martians. There are tons of things. Barry is a sad guy, but he runs because he wants to be the fastest man alive, and he wants to save as many people as he possibly can. and run away from his past. That's been always the core of his character. He can never run back into the past, so he runs to the future. He can never run backwards. He has to run forward. So, like I said, hit that bell and answer the question. What do you guys think? What do you think of the reboots? What do you think of my ideas for the future of the DCU? Also, what do you think of Subject Reviews' own video and also my other previous videos? Okay, you guys have a great one, and this will probably be my last video of the day. I got so many other things I got to do. Have a great one. Bye.